Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Health. I'm Dr. Dan Pavlik Jr., and as always, trying to bring the world of traditional medicine and alternative medicine together. Today, we are talking about nutrition. I have a good friend of mine, known him for a couple of years now, comes into the office and educates us, the doctor, about nutritional products and nutritional supplements and the importance of them. So I figure I would bring that to you and let you learn from some of his knowledge. Dominic Mastretta from Orthomolecular Products, who we actually have used for quite a few years, but we've known each other now for a few years. And welcome to the show, and appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Dr. Pavlik. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about nutrition and what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a lot of respect for your company, and we'll get into that here shortly. But, I just, as always with my guests, I'm always curious, what drives your passion to make you, do this? Because you are a knowledgeable guy when it comes to this. So you definitely have to love what you do. I'm just kind of curious where that came from.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My passion really became ignited when I was still a student in college. At the time, it was right around the peak of the pandemic. And at the state of medicine at the time, there was no way to cure or treat a bout of COVID initially. And then all of a sudden, you started to see some things being driven that were, old tricks: vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, different nutritional support that your body could utilize to, prime your immune system. And I fell in love with that, sort of going back to basics, back to the root cause of healthcare. And, job search came up and I stumbled across ortho. And I think it was a great blessing of mine because what I was looking for seemed to be a direct match to what they were offering. And fast forward 3 years, I've grown to love what I do, and now I get to talk with different healthcare practitioners like yourself about what nutritional supplements have to offer for the benefit of their patients.
So you always, when you come to the office to explain to us some of the different products, because we all have questions, are you naturally have you always been very good at just explaining things, using analogies, because you make things make sense. And I think education is so important. People don't know what they don't know, right? And there's questions about everything, and there's information everywhere, but you come into the office very comfortable and you just flow about your product, and everybody is always like, man, I really like that guy. He makes it make sense. Were you just naturally like that?
Yeah, I appreciate that compliment. I think it is in part my personality. If I go back to root it, my mom was a teacher, so she was an educator. And I think part of that, being raised by an educator, you learned how to talk to different groups of people and how to present, and picked up on some of those sort of things, maybe even subconsciously. And then, you get into a professional space where you get to exercise this gift of a personality. And the other part is just memorization and knowledge, and what we talked about was passion. So I think it's a good mix of all of those things together.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate what you do. So let's dive in. Nutrition, nutraceuticals, man, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. You can find it just about everywhere. And I feel like a small percentage of the population just doesn't really understand what it is that they should buy, what they're taking, but the quality. Yeah. How do we differentiate quality? What do you look at as far as oh, well, these are here and they're cheap, I just want those. What do you have to say about the quality differences and you pay for what you get type of deal?
Yeah, quality is a big aspect of nutritional supplements. That's something that's very important. And the best way to start is the same way people differentiate quality in any good that they purchase. You have your brand names. You know that a brand name has a better quality material. You know that their manufacturing process is different. That concept translates to nutritional supplements. You have good players, you have not so good players. Orthomolecular Products is a company that all we do is manufacture high quality nutraceuticals and dietary supplements. So it's built on the same principles that any good you'd find in the market otherwise, whether it's clothing or automotive industry, whatnot. In our space, it's the same. It's high quality raw materials, research based, especially being in the medical field. Research is critical, so we offer research in clinical articles behind all of our formulations, and then standing behind what we say we're manufacturing. If you turn a bottle of ours around and read the supplement facts box, we do independent testing and third-party testing to guarantee that everything that we're saying is in there. And then what you're left with is a good product.
So the difference between a good and a bad product, like if people, let's say Publix, a lot of supplements at Publix, a lot of supplements on Amazon. Of course, everybody orders from Amazon nowadays. And they're buying a $10 product when on your website it might be 20 or 25. Is it because it's just not absorbing? Is it not digesting? Is it because I have seen on x-rays, when I take x-rays of people's spines, something shows up and be like, do you take vitamins? To where it's not broken down. It's like a white piece of matter in the, it's right in the stomach, and it's like, that's interesting. So like how is that? Like, explain that to people that they need to understand a little bit about. That's where the quality comes into play.
Yes. Raw material quality is where you'll start. A lot of notations on our products that you'll see is a designation USP. That stands for United States Pharmacopoeia, which is sort of the seal of approval for the highest grade of that raw material you can find. So vitamin C, for example.
So USP is what people need to look at.
Yeah,
on the
look
back
for
of
those
the supplement bottle.
Yes, look for those designations, and then encapsulation matters. Therapeutic dosing. Does the company put enough of what is going to give you benefit into the capsule? These are all things that matter, and that's why manufacturing dietary supplements is not easy. It starts with sourcing the right raw materials, but then you have to make sure that your vendor is giving you what they're saying they're giving you, so you have to test it, and then you have to use special equipment to put these combinations of nutrients into encapsulated form, and then you have to test it again. Did it withstand that process? And then you have to sort of verify your label claims. Okay, we're saying there's this much vitamin C or zinc or magnesium in a product, and we test all of those things. And so it's an ongoing process. It's not easy. And so these retail brands, they're usually sourcing cheaper raw materials. And essentially the concept to follow is follow the money. Right? If the product is only to you $10, that means that, they're a business, they're looking to manufacture product and then profit from it. So their costs of input are lower. And it just goes back to the same concept of quality as well.
Well, hopefully everybody kind of gets the gist of that, because it is important. I mean, and I've noticed it, like I said, I've seen it on x-rays, so you can only imagine it's happening all over the place. But yeah, Orthomolecular Products, I feel like Dominic is being very honest. We've used it for a long time, and the efficacy matters. That's actually your you guys is one of your slogans, is because it does matter, and it's important when it comes to nutrition. So now, moving on in the next direction as far as what is important in the nutraceutical world. Once again, questions all the time. What should I be taking? What's just a good general thing that I should be taking on a daily basis, or a consistent basis anyways. A generally your average person, pretty healthy, kind of just average normal diet, not trying to go crazy. I'm not talking about like losing weight or anything like that. Just I want to try to help my body be better. Maintenance-wise, health-wise. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so what you're describing is the need for a foundational nutritional supplement that the average person could take to benefit their health. And before diving into maybe what we don't know and what we're looking for, I think it's important to think about, well, what do we know? And what we know is that our food isn't grown and made to the same quality that it once was. And as a result, patients and people don't get the nutritional value that they're expected to. And so there becomes this presence of a micronutrient deficiency. And micronutrient deficiencies, whether it's B vitamins, minerals, you name it, can lead to downstream problems. So a good way to get that out front of that is with a multivitamin. I think it's something that most of the general population has been advertised to take, or maybe they already do take it themselves. And then we can sort of talk about some differences in that.
So the multivitamin number one would be your top choice for any person.
Absolutely.
What sets out your product as a multivitamin from the average multivitamin like the Centrum or whatever that you see in the stores? Yours is called Mitocore.
Yeah.
And that's what it doesn't say multivitamin, it says Mitocore on the bottle, but explain why that is.
Yes, so we've established the need for a multivitamin in the general population. I work with varying branches of clinicians every single day of the week, and I know that the number one complaint from patient to provider is chronic fatigue, low energy. So Mitocore is essentially formulated to not only provide sufficient micronutrients as a multivitamin, but it's also built to boost energy naturally. And that's a big component of the product.
Gotcha. So, all right, we've established the multivitamin. Everybody should be taking one, honestly. And in my opinion, I take one every day.
Do you take Mitocore, Dr.
I take Mitocore every day. I actually take twice a day. Take every 12 hours. Take one in the morning and I take one before bed. And everybody's different in that aspect, but that's just what I found seems to do well for me, right? Some people I'd recommend just one a day. I mean, it just see how you feel. And by the way, we haven't talked about this. Usually it takes a good month or so for your body to respond to that, correct?
Yes.
To develop the receptors towards it, as compared to like a medication that isn't pretty quick.
Yeah.
So the people need to understand that as well, is it takes time. You're not going to just instantaneously feel a difference. And a lot of people, there's frustrations there. Oh, I don't feel it. I don't feel a difference. Well, give it time. You know, that's what I always tell a lot of my patients.
And I'm happy to elaborate on that and talk a little bit about what Mitocore is. Because you're right, it can in some instances take time to notice a difference, because what supplements and nutraceuticals are doing is you're providing your body the tools that it needs to operate. And in this case, the multivitamin, your body, whether it's your immune system, your cardiovascular system, your GI system, they all have a use for different micronutrients. And so Mitocore is that multivitamin, and you're going to take some time to reestablish and rebuild those micronutrient reserves. But the other key aspect of the product, and why I brought in low energy and chronic fatigue, is that it's called Mitocore because it supports our body's mitochondria. And everybody can recall.
Everybody remembers from biology, the old mitochondria, the powerhouse.
That's right. But what does that mean? And our mitochondria, what they do is they produce energy. And so we have a product that uses different ingredients to help our mitochondria produce energy. And at the cellular level, that's sort of the beginning point of all of this. If you think about why is it something that people take every single day? It's because at the cellular level, what you're doing is you're feeding your mitochondria to produce energy from the cells, pass it to the tissues, tissues to organs, organs to organs systems. And I think that is what I know to be why it is an energy support supplement. All natural, non-stimulant, but because you're providing your body what it needs to do the job that it's supposed to do, that's where people feel the difference.
And consistency is the key. So, okay, we've established the multivitamin every day. What's next? What is another important nutraceutical item that you would recommend, and why?
Next usually goes to probiotics under the umbrella of gut health.
Gut health. Gut health is also important because, once again, just in general aspects, we all know the gut can create all kinds of different issues, but also the how the body functions, how it works. Yeah. So why is gut health so important? Why are probiotics so important?
Well,
what do they do?
Gut health is uber important because it is an organ system that is in regular contact with the outside world. One of two actually outside of your skin. So it's in contact with different bacteria, different foods, and it also plays a pivoted role for nutrient absorption. Our GI tract is responsible for taking nutrients that pass through our GI system from food and absorbing them. So you can tie in, once again, the multivitamin aspect, how it works, how it's absorbed. But our GI tract is sort of, to use an analogy, it's like going through, entering a sporting event. You have to go through the metal detector, and then you have to scan your ticket. And your gut is supposed to have that clean process. But what happens through high stress, poor diet, poor lifestyle, is those systems sort of fall apart. All of a sudden, the metal detector isn't working, and folks without tickets are getting through. Same concept is happening in your GI tract with bacteria. You have good bacteria, those ticket holders, and you have bad bacteria, people without tickets who still want to see the game. And what happens is high stress, poor diet allows for those folks that don't have tickets to get on through, and that causes all sorts of problems in this analogy, but that's really what happens inside the gut. The other aspect is immune health is something that's talked about all the time. 70% of your immune system resides within the GI tract, within your gut. And so why do we need to support that? This is where probiotics come in, because you can deliver high quality live strains of bacteria to sort of feed the fruitful microbiome and keep things balanced.
Now, can most people just start taking a probiotic? Just boom, I heard this, I think it's a great idea, I want to start taking probiotics. Most of them are recommended just one a day. But you don't have to worry about starting a specific diet or anything like that. You can just start taking probiotics, correct?
Yeah, probiotics are something that are easy to incorporate. Your body, these bacteria already exist within your gut. What you're essentially doing is just providing more of them. And so for that matter, patients usually have an ease of incorporating those into their life as a daily supplement. One a day. And that's sort of how our product, Orthobiotic, is built as a one-a-day offering.
Now, I notice with your product, it does not need to be refrigerated, but when you go to stores, there's a lot that do need to be refrigerated. Why is that?
Yes, and that is something, to go back to earlier parts of our conversation, that are important about orthomolecular products. We are a manufacturer. We are building this and we're putting it together. And one of the things we understand is that, one, probiotics should be taken every day. Let's not make it harder to do that. So we do a couple different things from a technology standpoint to protect our product. Just to touch on them really quick, probiotics are live organisms. So over time, they're going to die off. And they're also have to withstand the harsh environment of the GI tract, a lot of acidity, a lot of different pH changes. And so what we do is we actually essentially, we freeze dry the probiotic strains to put them sort of in a hibernated state. And we also use the delayed release capsule technology that only dissolves in your large intestine. That's where these bacteria have their most benefit. And so now what we've done is we've eliminated any instance where the product is ineffective. And that's why it is so successful. It has been Orthomolecular's #1 product for decades now, because it works and it's built the right way. And I think that's good aspects of it.
The justification of that. But like I said, it's not a bad thing that other companies have theirs in a refrigerator or whatever. It's not necessarily bad, but it's just, you have to keep it refrigerated if you're buying from something else.
Yes, those ones.
In your case, you take the inconvenience out of that.
Yeah.
If you don't necessarily have a refrigerator or you forget to put it back in the refrigerator.
So there's no need to refrigerate it.
Yeah. So gut inflammation, does that, obviously it plays a big role in just overall how your body feels and inflammation in the body. We hear about anti-inflammatory diets and all this type of stuff. So a probiotic can help with that, but what also helps with inflammation? If people are just generally feeling sore or not that, just on a daily basis, like, yeah, okay, I started taking a probiotic and, I feel like it helps a little bit, but I'm still getting, soreness kind of in my body. What else can I do? What else can we take?
Turmeric is one of the hottest topics. I see it all the time on the internet. I talk about it quite a bit, and that's a botanical extract that has very potent anti-inflammatory capacity.
Okay. So, a lot of people they're cooking with it. I mean,
Hmm.
same thing, with what you guys talk about is just the make of it, how you guys produce it and where it comes from. Um, but turmeric from a dosage aspect, any specific recommendations on that? Like,
Yeah.
I know everybody's different. This is just kind of your average person that's just dealing with kind of just some general little aches and pains. They don't want to have to take ibuprofen
Hmm.
all the time. So
Yeah.
what are we looking at there as far as, do we just take it per how I feel every day, or am I trying to stay on a consistent routine of
Yeah.
turmeric?
A lot of good points that I'll touch on. Turmeric is coined to be nature's NSAID, or nature's ibuprofen. And it's something that is safe to take daily. Turmeric's a botanical. It's been around since the dawn of time. And it's been used medicinally for thousands of years. Now, the difference, and this is where sort of I can bring back orthomolecular products and tie into gut health once again, is when we're treating inflammation, or when we're supporting inflammation, the gut is a critical component. And that's the beauty of botanicals. That's how they work, because your gut is in contact with them and it chews them up and it uses the different components that come as, a part of that botanical. And so for the case of turmeric, you see so many different formulations and so many different ideologies of how to deliver it. One of the big aspects is standardizing high-dose curcumin to improve absorption. And essentially, that's something where you'll see in the retail setting, and you'll see, oh, it's 200 times more absorbed than, your general herb. But the challenge is that that's not the solution to the problem. If we're trying to focus on inflammation, your gut is having an immune response, and therefore it's having an inflammatory response. So when you introduce turmeric as nature intended, so the whole turmeric root essentially is what's in our capsule, your gut uses so many different components of that to lower gut inflammation, and as a result, you're lowering different systemic inflammatory responses in the body, whether it's sores, aches and pains, things of that nature. But that goes back once again to the importance of trusting the manufacturer. Like I said, Ortho's done this for 35 years. We take all of these different aspects into account. And so when we offer turmeric, it's different, but it's for a reason. And for that matter, it's safe. To answer your last point, it's something that patients can and should take every day if they have routine sores and aches, because it's a harmless botanical that's been around forever. Your body's going to get the benefit from it, and you're going to see.
But you can also just take it as needed.
As needed as well, yeah.
As we're talking about inflammation and gut inflammation and body inflammation, obviously our food, everything we eat and we expose ourselves to, our body has to ultimately, it goes through a process like you've been explaining. And the other organ that is heavily involved in this processing is the liver.
Right.
Obviously all of us in general, a lot of us, we run our livers down.
Yeah.
The liver is the filter. It's like the air filter in a car. It's got to be cleaned out every once in a while. In a car, you would replace it, but in our AC air conditioner, we replace it, but can't replace the liver. So, I mean, ultimately can't, but you don't want to have to replace the liver.
Right.
So I was introduced to a detox that you guys do about 4 years ago around COVID, because I wanted to keep myself as healthy as possible, but I also wanted to drop a few pounds. And I was introduced to the Core Restore, is what it's called. I call it a detox in a box because it comes in a box, and it's got all the supplements and everything in there with it that you have to take. But why, you hear about detoxes all over the place. So we don't have to dive into what's in it and how to do it, but it's just, why is a detox important outside of just cleaning your filter? What is it going to do for the body, right? And how often do you recommend?
Yeah. So when it comes to detoxification, and so I guess, importance of it, it goes back to your point of our liver runs all the time. I joke that it's like 7-Eleven. It's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. It doesn't get a break. And it's responsible for so many different things. It's your filter. So it has to filter your hormones, it has to filter out toxins, and we just expect it to run efficiently. But the challenge is, and sort of what is the overarching umbrella in our space all the time, is high amounts of stress, poor diet, toxic burden. Toxins are in everything. And what your body does to protect itself from toxins is why the detox becomes important. So when you have toxins present in your body will cover them in fat. And to protect itself, because it doesn't want those toxins roaming around. But the challenge is when your body's put in a position where it either needs to burn that fat, therefore release the toxin, or not to, it's going to hold on to that. And your liver doesn't get a break. And so it's important sometimes to get that reset, especially if you're somebody who's starting to incorporate nutraceuticals and supplements into your lifestyle and you're ready to make a change. It's a good place to start. And that's sort of where the detox thrives. The Core Restore Kit, that's why it dominates. It's because it allows your liver to take a break, and then we feed it different nutrients that are going to allow it to sort of change that filter or hit that reset button. And as a result, patients are left feeling better. Usually they're able to lose a few pounds over the course of it. But the other key component is when you're stepping into a lifestyle that incorporates nutrition, a big part of that is habits. And the Core Restore Kit is built with different guidelines for diet recommendations and lifestyle habits so that you're not only starting to dive into supplementing your life, but you're also practicing different habits of eating better, living a healthier lifestyle that are going to set you up for long-term optimal health in the end.
I highly recommend their Core Restore Kit. We have them in our office, but it's very simple. It comes with a book. You can look it up online, but it comes with a book. It comes with the powder that you're going to drink for your shakes. It comes with the detox supplements. It comes with the multivitamin. It tells you what, kind of what to eat. It gives you the guidelines. It's very, very simple. I mean, honestly, everybody that I've had do it, it was very easy for me. Therefore, I started recommending it to a lot of patients, a lot of friends, and everybody, has done pretty well with it. People don't always lose weight. It's not a weight loss program. It's a 7-day detoxification of the liver, but it's what, like Dominic said, it is what can help start the process of just, regenerating the body a little bit, I guess is
Right.
a good word to say. I mean, it really kind of gets you like, oh my gosh. I mean, I feel better, I don't have to always eat the crap that I'm eating, right? You cut some of that stuff out. So there's a lot of different aspects to look at it, but I highly recommend it. How often would you say minimum to do that? Once a year?
Minimum once a year. It always works really well. I do it at the start of the year, right? January 1st, new year, new me. It's seamless at that time. But it's safe to utilize the kit. It's a week-long protocol, so you
Once
can do
a quarter?
Yeah, 3 to 4 times a year. And like you said, it's foolproof. Day 1, do this. Day 2, 3, and on. So it's very easy to follow, and it's something that's a good, to give your liver and give your body a break and a reset 3 to 4 times a year is perfectly safe to do as well.
Cool. Well, Dominic, that's kind of all the questions I have for you today. I'm sure we could probably talk for hours on just different products and different nutraceuticals, but obviously we only have so much time. But I really appreciate you coming in, and like I said, this guy just, as he talked now, he just makes things make sense, and I just think it's kind of a forgotten piece, man. I think more people need knowledge on what nutrition and what the nutraceutical world can do for us. So I really appreciate you being on the show, and happy to have you here, man. So if there was anything else you had that you wanted to kind of finish up with, otherwise,
yeah, I appreciate.
I'll let you on your way. I know you got a lot of people to talk to and a lot of knowledge to share, man. So
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Dominic Mistretta from Orthomolecular Products. I hope everybody got a little bit of general information today about the world of nutrition and how to get started, and got some of their questions answered. Orthomolecular Products is a great company. There are a lot of great nutraceutical companies out there, but Orthomolecular Products is a company that I trust, and their website is just orthomolecularproducts.com, correct?
That's right.
Orthomolecularproducts.com if you guys had any questions or any interest in looking at that. Outside of that, that'll be it for today's show. I'm Dr. Dan Pavlik Jr., as we are sponsored by the Access Health and Wellness Association. This is Let's Talk Health, and we will see you next time.